For me, it was fun to get to build this facility that had a very kind of specific look and feel to it. At the same time, telling a story that had a very unique tone, different than anything I've done before.
And it just was a really great example of how virtual production can be used to help the filmmaking process.
We're about to go behind the FX of Spiderhead. Spiderhead is about a tech visionary played by Chris Hemsworth who is trying to create pharmaceuticals that can create very specific emotions in people. He's created this facility called the Spiderhead where he takes in prisoners who can serve out their time in exchange for having these drugs tested on them. I wanted it to have a very atypical prison feel. Abnesti's trying to create an environment that's very relaxing, very pleasant. It does have prison elements to it. There are no windows. The only way that the prisoners are kind of able to get natural light is through skylights. So we built a set where we were pushing sunlight in through the ceiling to kind of create a pleasant feeling, but at the same time, there's a sense of unease in the architecture of it.
The sets you see are almost entirely real. We went to great lengths to try to build as much as possible for the actors to really feel like they could be a part of that world.
The whole set was built on a basketball court indoors. So the light rig that Claudio designed and that we hung above this set to create that natural sunlight was probably the biggest lighting rig that we've ever done to get that very specific look.
The rigs that they were able to put together really drove a lot of the looks that we were following up on in visual effects in terms of our extensions. When it came to the outside of the facility, our references really were looking at old bunkers, old brutalist architecture, and so we spent quite a bit of time gathering references of that material and different forms of lighting and different scales and sizes, and just really try to get the details just right about how that would feel.
The very unique nature of the pandemic changed the whole pre-production process for me. I got out of quarantine 2 weeks before we started filming, but I felt very prepared because I was prepping the whole time I was in quarantine.
There was this perfect opportunity in the hotel rooms to have a virtual version of that set, kind of location scout essentially prior to being able to put feet on the ground.
Heather, listen to me. Sit down. Don't raise a finger. That's an order.
Please, get the fuck away from me, please.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Jesus.
Get in there. Go.
Heather's death that really has to have a lot of impact on the audience, right? It's this first time where you really sort of see the really dark side of what's happening at this facility. I think some of the more interesting sort of art direction that we did in that area was trying to convey the fact that the MobiPack itself was not functioning properly. And so it was really important to Joe that we got the lights to flicker and sort of convey this idea that this device is failing, essentially. All of our special effects with blood and gore and various other things is really a collaboration between special effects and visual effects, which is, I think, our favorite way to approach this thing.
I love practical effects, so that was a practical blood rig with a packet of blood hidden on her body with a tube that came up and was like blended in using special effects makeup. That was captured in camera. It was not something that we wanted to shoot a lot of times. The cleanup time after a Heather death scene was pretty significant.
In order to make our day, we're shooting what we have to, and then we can kind of clean up some of that stuff after. In the case of the blood, especially in particular spraying on the glass, there was quite a bit of work put into just adding to the violence and the gore, really getting the color just right. It really comes down to just making sure that we're as seamless as possible so we don't take you out of the story. But I think really the credit goes to our talent for pulling it off.
I know you're struggling, but this will help.
The MobiPacks are really a pretty central plot point, and you can almost argue a bit of a character as well, because it is this thing that really signifies how trapped they are there.
The idea of using an interface that felt like something we were all familiar with felt like a great misdirect for what the software was actually capable of.
They actually developed an app that was usable for some of those shots. The MobiPacks themselves were a real prop that had sort of a backlit effect. Always having that real thing that we could rely on as a reference was critically important.
Make sure to check out Spiderhead, only on Netflix.
Thanks for watching Netflix Film. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.